Yeah, we concluded this session very early um, uh, due to some foreseen plan. Uh, uh, so, Bijju, are you there? Is it something yours is the next session? If it is possible for you to take up the
Hi, sir.
session and yeah, is it possible for you to take up the session? Okay.
Absolutely, sir. I can.
Yeah, we have time. Actually, we have time, so it's not a problem.
Okay,
So
sir.
we can take time. So half an hour early to you, but up to we can continue up to 30.
Yeah,
Okay.
no
So
problem, sir. I'll
take your
let me
time.
start from laptop then.
Yeah, yeah.
One second.
Take your time. Yeah. So I would like to invite Mr. Bijju Anuputtam. The topic what we are talking today is orchestrating end-to-end supply chain optimization using KPI strategy and execution intelligence. The speaker, Bijju, is a global strategy and supply chain transformation expert. Basically, he is an industry expert in aviation. So he is founder of Aero Edison Consulting, where he helps business design high-impact KPI systems that align strategy with execution. The deep expertise in aviation, energy, and manufacturing sectors. Bijju advises mid-sized firms and global corporations on performance-driven growth, digital transformation, operational excellence. So fantastic to hear you, Mr. Bijju.
Recording in progress.
Okay, so make sure your logistics are set up, your mic and everything.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just joining.
Maybe you need to mute other one. Yeah.
Yeah, hello, sir. Very good
Yeah,
afternoon to all.
yeah, great.
Yeah, am I audible? And
Yeah,
yes,
you
sir.
are audible. You can share your presentation.
Please let me know if my
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's coming up. Yeah,
yes.
you can see it. Yeah, you can put it in the presentation mode also.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. Yes, Mr. P, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you
on.
so much for the opportunity, Abdul sir. I'm really thankful to you. Last year also, you have given me this opportunity to talk about trends and challenges in the supply chain optimization in India. So, good afternoon, all. I'm Bijju Anuputtam, as sir said. I'm from Bangalore, and I'm focusing on orchestrating end-to-end supply chain optimization. So how we are going to talk about KPIs and how KPI strategy helps us to, make a robust system for supply chain. So there is a key thing which I'm going to talk about is called as execution intelligence. So my focus is on how KPIs are important to identify, work on them, types of KPI, and how this execution intelligence model comes in. And we have an framework which I will discuss, which will help the industry a lot, not only aviation but other industries also. So let me start that. Yeah, already my introduction is given by sir. So let me start with this Global Aviation Outlook 2025. Mostly I'll be talking on the aviation industry as such, but to tell you how big is the aviation industry. So from the left side, you can imagine every year 5 billion people are traveling across globally in all the airlines, business jet, everything. And 40 million aircraft departures are there. Departures means every plane takeoffs is one departure. So 40 million is there in a year. And the growth, we call it as a revenue passenger per kilometer. That is the scale or the metric they track. All airlines track this. How much RPK are there? There are others also, but this is one critical. How many revenue per kilometer are they making, or spending? So 5.8% is that number which they track. So any airline making above this is very good airlines, and they track that way. Then there is an air cargo market. That is also very important because all the key materials, medicines, everything, whatever cargo goes by air is air cargo market. So 70 million tons are there, and 70 million tons almost is a huge, cargo thing. And cargo revenue is reducing because of COVID, because of other issues. But the forecast is it will touch 142 billion this year. Now, if you see the total civil aviation commercial business in the middle column, the financial highlights. So this is where all the airlines put together make a revenue. So almost $979 billion. It's a huge amount. And the profit is very less because airlines work very small profit. So that is why airlines are very, very, critical service. And they have to optimize their supply chain, their parts availability. Because if airline stops flying, it's a major issue. So the profitability is affected and very thin margins are there. So net profit is around 3.7 or 4%, you can say roughly. And net profit per passenger is $7.2. So it's very low. So you can imagine how airlines are competing with each other to get a passenger. And return on invested capital is even lesser than our bank, interest. So it's really tough. So airlines are really facing a tough trouble after COVID, but they are coming up and there are different strategies they are employing to improve not only their, revenue from airline services, but from ancillary services, what they offer, the internet, the basic services, the catering, everything else, on top of it. And that is where they are making money. For us, supply chain and operations are very big, and that is where a lot of operational issues and operational performance happens. So you can imagine 17,000 aircrafts are backlogged with Airbus, Bombardier, Boeing, and others. And you can see 30% aircraft deliveries are down. That means whatever 100 was allowed, only 70 has been delivered. And load factor is around 83%. Load factor is nothing but, let's say there are 100 seats in the aircraft and only 83 people are getting, so 17 seats are going waste, and that is the main reason why airlines struggle. And then fuel cost is another big thing. It costs around 30 to 40% of your total operational cost. So fuel is something everyone wants to save and make savings there. And because the price is very volatile, it fluctuates a lot. So our focus in this discussion is supply and operations, especially aircraft deliveries, how that is affected, aircraft maintenance that is affected, and how supply chain metrics help to improve that. So I have few case studies also, whatever I'm going to speak today, some of the case studies from renowned companies that I will be quoting here. Yeah. So why this topic is very important, what happens is, everybody thinks you can do any transformation and it will work. No. According to McKinsey, 72% of supply chain transformation projects fail, and they fail because of many reasons. The key reasons is prioritization. There are a lot of things which KPIs, you have more than 100 plus 140 APIs in big companies, and they do not have a method to prioritize, and they do a lot of trial and error. So that is one reason McKinsey said that 72% is a failure rate. The KPIs, they measure activity but not progress. So you have KPIs in a dashboard, you will see so many things, but people don't know what to do with that. And that is why they don't know whether it is a lagging measure, or it's a leading measure, or is it how it is being defined, what will work on, and what will give an answer or a better result. So that is where KPIs become very important. So if for this execution intelligence is something which is needed, because you have a lot of good strategies from the top leadership, but at the down the performance doesn't come, because the teams which go lower level are the ones who affect their performance. So between strategy and performance there is a long gap or a big gap there, which needs to be addressed. So aviation and manufacturing are, they are going into a new maturity model, which I will discuss. How things from the olden times, from legacy times, when people used to write it, to today AI-driven models, the maturity model has come up. And this is where we have to understand, as progression is going on, there will always be a maturity model in every business and every technology, how the new things are coming up and improving things. So that is where we are going to talk about it. Now, what is the core problem? Now, this is a big question, why people think what is affecting our, supply chain. So there are major four things you can see. One is disconnected strategy. So you make beautiful strategies, McKinsey, Gartner, they all give beautiful strategy and metrics and all. But the problem is there are so many things and so many layers of, the leadership level, then the operational level, and then the vendor level. All three have different metrics and they are not interconnected. And that is what the biggest gap is. And that is the biggest pain point. If you don't do it, the results will not be there. Then KPI overload is there. So without insight. So any metric, it gives you a number, but what will you do with that number? What insights are you bringing in? How it is going to affect or how it is going to better the process? That is where the other pain point is. And execution is reactive, means you are firefighting all the time. You had some problem in one part of the department, you solve that, and then you don't see whether it is connected, interconnected, how that will be. So it is not predictive. That is also a big pain point. And visibility, you see everything. Your teams from bottoms up, they give lot of metrics, but that metrics doesn't tell about any solid intelligence to act upon. And that is where we are focusing, how this intelligence is going to help us improve our process, improve our productivity. So ultimately, we should identify the problem. And once you identify the problem, it is easy to, give the solutions. So what are we going to do? How to get a solution? So in business transformation, we should have a plan and how we are going to do. So first in the transformation plan, we should have a current state, estimated. So what is the current state? So if you see, the first is whatever the existing KPIs and processes are there, you should do clearly understand, list them. Second thing is KPI audit. So once you list them, you see you covered every department, every team, and whatever they are doing. And once you know the list of your metrics from top to bottom, then you do an audit. And that audit is very, very professional. You have to do very clearly what type of metrics are there. How do you qualify those metrics? So you have to eliminate noise. So there are so many things, but it doesn't give value to the business. So you avoid those metrics and focus only on the key metrics. So audit only helps you to, prioritize the KPIs. Now, how you do it, we have a framework we called as Zero Loop. I'll be discussing coming slides, but it aligns everything. It makes, it chooses, it focuses, and then it helps you to bring the best of the best metrics, which will really impact your business. And that is where we focus. So once you have identified that metrics, the next step is to activate dashboards. So activate dashboards means you can have simple Excel type of things, or you can have business BI tools like Tableau, or any other tool which you can think can come. And there can be third party vendors who brings in very good solutions. And those dashboards gives you a very good information real time, and that real time information helps leadership or operational teams to take decisions. So it is more of data driven decision through KPI. So the journey goes from a KPI to a data driven decision making, which comes with an impact, which comes with a result. And that is what we are looking forward to. So frameworks always open minds and tools open change. So always remember, you should have a framework where you have to work and give impact. Now, what is this framework about? So this framework is called as Arrow Loop. It's a KPI model which we have developed. So Arrow Loop is abbreviated as align, execute, and recalibrate and orchestrate. So first you have to align your KPIs, then you have to execute what type of processes you want to do it. You can recalibrate it, orchestrate it. Then you have to understand, if you understand everything, how to orchestrate, how to organize, how to plan, how to put things into process. So how you're going to see every KPI what they are doing. So you have to understand, learn, then you have to optimize, operationalize, and predict. So where optimize, operationalize, and predict comes, it all becomes more and more intelligent. So you have to use tools, you have to use AI, you have to build models which will do for you, you understand. So first thing is closed loop supply chain model. You have to make it. Then you have to align KPIs with business strategy. Now, business strategy is very important. Whatever you are doing, every KPI should be focusing with a business goal. So your leadership always will have a business goal. So you have to align that business goal. Let's say you want to increase the revenue, or you want to decrease the wastage, or you want whatever business goals are there. You focus there and see the key metrics, talking to the operational team and leadership, and then you align the KPIs. So once you have that, you create a dashboard. So dashboard also, you will take those metrics, which one is the regularly daily monitoring ones, then weekly or monthly monitoring one, and one is quarterly or annual monitoring ones. So then you have different types of metrics which you have to monitor, and different teams are given responsibility, which ones to focus and report back. Now you have to execute, you have to do it, then recalibrate. So recalibrate is when you're doing some metrics, you will understand that this process was not working. So what you do, you realign with the SMEs and teams, and you try to improve that with. And once you use this AI based models or AI things, it tries to help you out, and it takes all the data analytics and tells you like this processes were good and this is what we can improve, and you choose those. And there can be a SOPs related to that. You can improve on SOPs there. Now finally what happens is, once you have a very good model, you have to orchestrate with it. So orchestrate means whatever the insights which are coming from all the data and all the inputs coming from your sensors, from your teams, from your laptops, from your tabs in the field, in the systems, that you have to bring it to one level of insights, and that insights giving directions to leadership, what solutions are offered or what solutions are available. And that is how we see the thing. So you should understand one thing is, you have people who knows tools, but you should have also people who are motivated to do bring results to the leadership, and that is where this orchestration happens. Now, what is this maturity ladder? So maturity ladder is, from the basic I told you, is earlier people used to write in papers, and that papers used to be signed and then goes department by department, and then it reaches to the leadership. So there is a lagging metrics there. People, if you have 10 factories or 10 supply chains, or it becomes very difficult. And so the lagging metrics always comes late. So that is the first level, very basic level of understanding. Then measured and disconnected ones. So, teams are working in silos, in one factory separately, one maintenance organization separately. And there are different KPIs they are monitoring, and which are not connected also. They are in silos, and that brings a major problem. Strategic alignment is another level, and in which, you have to have different methods to track them. You have to balance them. Balance scorecard is there. You do so many things, so many tools are there, but they all come from different departments. So that is also a problem for everybody. How do you make a dashboard which has everything from every department? Then execution intelligence is there. So once you have all the database, all the inputs coming in from different sources, your system should have the capability to bring it in one dashboard, one critical space, and in which you can predict things. You can have different analytical models. Instead of predictive and prescriptive, you become more dynamic. So real time analysis is done, real time solutions is being offered. So that is very critical. And once you have there, so the fifth stage is orchestrated decisioning. So this is AI enabled decisioning. So once you have the system in place, you have readily alerts going in to the particular team, particular person. They know what decisions to be taken, how it is affecting your thing. You are having three color codes, red, yellow, and green, so that they know what message is coming and what directions they should take. And that is how it goes. So from level 4, 3, and 2, 1, you can see on the right side, execution intelligence come on the top. So if your company is working on these stages, you know what level of development you need. So if you're in level 1, you understand how evolved your system is, how much more you have done in terms of connecting every stakeholder, using the information and spreading the information so that you have right insights to the right person and he can take a decision. So maturity level always, go for monitored, then predictive, and then orchestrated. So you should identify where your organization is or where your department is, and then how you should progress. Now I'm giving you a case study, what has happened. So you can see about Lufthansa Technique. Lufthansa Technique is a MRO. MRO means maintenance, repair, and overall. So in aircrafts, when they are flying and they come down with some technical issues, they go to an MRO organization. It's like a workshop, you can say that, and they take care of every repair of your aircraft. So they stock the parts, they have the right tools to operate, they have the right licenses or STCs to improve your serviceability. Now the point is, big problem was this, that this company had a pooling issue. So pooling means you don't know how many parts will be used. So they used to keep 1%, 2% of the total aircrafts are there with them, and for them how much aircraft parts will be requiring, they will have a number and they have to put, and that used to be a big number, and the stock level used to go very high. So what they have done is, when they use this type of a model and AI analytics, they know what is their turnaround time. Turnaround time is like how much time it takes to repair the machine. For that repair the machine, what parts will come, how much time it will be there. So everything from starting to end, how much is the time it is going to take. Now the predictive repair cycle, they put it in such a way that they know the cycle metrics, and then according to that they started doing analysis, they did insights, and after that they came to know that if using these type of metrics and these processes, they can reduce, they can get benefited. And the results was 22% AOG. AOG means aircraft on ground. So when the aircraft is not flying and with any issues, if it is down, it is called as downtime. I mean, that means it is not flying. And 98% of parts availability. So anytime if any failure comes, if there is a part change, they 98.5 times they have the part available. So the time has been reduced. And if the aircraft is not flying, that means it is a loss to the airline. So airlines were very happy, and they did it. So there are different technology and frameworks they use. They call it digital MRO twin and KPI exceptional modeling. Digital twin I'm going to talk about, but you can see in the bottom, reactive parts pooling, KPI evolution, digital MRO twin. So digital MRO twin is, um, assume your aircraft is there as a physical and there is a digital model of it. That means you have a machine which calculates how the aircraft will fly, how the aircraft parts will work, and how long its life is there, what issues it can come. And there is a thing called as aircraft health monitoring. So it tracks every sensors in the aircraft. It takes the data, bring it to the system. Now this data is being evaluated. So which part is going to fail, maybe not now, maybe after 100 flights or 50 flights. So they give an alert or message to the supply chain and the market maintenance teams, and those people will be ready for that. So before failure happens, they are going and repairing that or servicing that. And once they have done it, they will keep monitoring the metrics. And once they know if anything is going wrong, even after repair, they can come back and see if everything is gone as per procedure. So always proactive parts availability is a critical issue, because each part is very costly. And to bring each part, they have to invest money, and that is where their profitability goes down, or capex goes down. So capex goes high, I mean to say, their capability is affected because of that. So it's a very capital intensive business. So that is why KPIs are very, very important. And for an MRO, which have very thin, even thinner margins than the airlines, so they have to be careful. Now, this is another example of the same thing, what they have done differently. Now, since I told you about the MRO, so when the aircraft goes there, they have, um, one second. So they have, yeah. So they have a software, they call it Aviator, and this is a platform which tracks every metric, every system. So they have different modules in that. But what max is that if you use Aviator, they track all your processes. It creates alerts, and it gives you the real value or insights to the maintenance team or the leadership. So because of this, what has happened is 22% of AOG is down, 98%, and 30% improve in first time fixed rate. First time fixed rate is means first time you attended and it has been solved. So that is very important, because sometimes even if you repaired, it will come back. And then the other thing what has happened is they even reduced the response time by 45%, and improved on-time performance by 11%. So these are the metrics they were tracking, and this is improving the profitability of their customers, the airlines or the business jet owners. So whoever is there, they are actually benefited by that, and that benefited is being quantified, and that is what matters. Now, why this framework is so important, to understand the pyramid. So in the pyramid, there are, metrics which will be very, very important. So you have to identify that. So there are three levels on the right side, you can see. One is the strategic KPI. So you should always identify from your KPI list which are the strategic ones. That is the leadership looking into it. What is impacting them? For example, like cost to serve or OTF or return on assessment. It is more of financial or the performance based thing. Second comes the tactical KPIs like cycle time, inventory turns, all those, terms which is on the regular tactical, areas KPIs. So you have to identify that. And the third is operational ones, which is on the daily basis or every task basis it happens, like maintenance TAT and all turnaround time. So you have to make a, segmentation of KPIs. Now, once you have done it, then you have to do a prioritization of these things. So whether it is high impact, strategic, is it operational or low impact. So when you do that, you will understand which metrics you have to focus and which team. So different teams may have different charts for their metrics, but every metric should be going up to the leadership. So it will be interconnected. So accordingly, you have to make your balance scorecard, or you have to make a metric, pyramid sort of a thing on the left side. And this is very important. If you do that, it becomes very easy what steps you have to take next. So if you identify which metrics are impacting at a strategic level, at a tactical level, and an operational level, you know where to attack. So your solution is already there. You have sight on your solutions. Now, how to do that? Now, since you know it, now you have identified a KPIs, what are you going to do about it? So for that, you should have a clear four-step model. So first you have the data. You have identified the data which is related to your KPIs. Then you have to create an alert system. And then you have to make that alerts going to the right people who will take correct decisions. That decisions could be either strategic or tactical or operational. So once they take that decision, there will be an impact. So you have to be giving the right insights, right data, right decision points, so that the person who is responsible takes the right decision for the correct impact. So impact means it is either revenue, it is time saving, or it is efficiency. Whatever the impact has been defined by your leadership, that has to come there. So now you can use in different way execution intelligence, either proactively making it. You can integrated dashboards. Dashboards can be made, in a multiple level also, but one for leadership and then for operational levels. The major third point is wherever you see anomaly detection, you should always identify that. And then you have to have a KPI storytelling. So whatever you have done, 1, 2, 3, you will know which ones were successful, which didn't come up, which had issues. So whatever the gaps are there, and you should know that, and then you can work on again in a cyclic basis to improve that. And whenever a small win is there, you should have tell a KPI storytelling, that this metric has impacted us. Even if it is small, you should talk about in your weekly meetings, monthly meetings, or QBR, quarterly business reviews, so that everyone knows what is impacting, where should the leadership focus, which is changing your metrics at the highest level. And then you should automate things. You can bring in AI tools, you can bring in third party companies, and that will improve your supply chain efficiency. But unless until it is connected, the information is collected, or digital thread is made, it is very difficult for a leadership or a company to actively work and get results. Yeah. Now, how it happens is, as I explained, you should have a before, after, and results. So what is happening? So when you're doing a KPI improvement, so whatever you do in this 6 steps, so identifying the static monthly KPIs, delayed corrective actions, then implement real-time KPI signals. So signal is very important. You should identify which are noise signals and which are good signals. And this is where subject matter experts or the leadership, they always come into what is mattering to them. So once you have that signals, and then you do a root cause analysis or root cause alerts, this is going to happen. And the more you go into deeper and deeper, you will understand, by different methods like 5 eyes or root cause analysis, you will come to a point, you will know that real causes are different than what seems on the superficial level. And then you start addressing them, so then you will get a faster resolution, and results will come better. So once you have faster resolutions, then you have lower issues, or lower problem rates and stakeout rates, whatever you have in mind, which metrics are being affected. So this is the process of improvement. Now, why this is so important in terms of coming out from the old world to new world. This happens with everyone, every good companies also have some processes which are old. They have KPI dashboard, monthly reviews, lagging indicators, manual escalation. This doesn't help them to become super efficient, doesn't help them to directly impact the business outcome. So what has changed then? First is data. The more data you have about your processes, about your systems, that is one thing. Then second thing is you should have really good, workflows, predictive analytics, continuous feedback loops, and then decision can be orchestrated. So continuous feedback loop is very important, because you should have your monthly meetings, weekly meetings, and that should be focused on metrics. That really impacts the results or business outcome. Now, I'm giving another example of GE Aerospace where I have worked in the past. So I have studied some of the case studies which was done by many other teams, and those have been published globally. Um, Digital twin, I explained you, this is the physical part of it, and the right side is the digital part of it. So they know which systems are working, which systems are not working. So which systems are not working, how they track it. So they have lot of sensors in the engines, and those sensors will give data on a real time basis, from starting the engine to shutting off the engine. Every part sensors data is available for analysis, and that is how they make their insights. Now, what has changed? They have used the digital twin, and with that digital twin they could identify what is the issues happening, and for that issues, whether it needs a part repair or a part change, they will send a signal to the maintenance engineer, the supply chain people, the company, the vendor, the MRO. The whole chain is being informed with alerts. And because of this actions and insights, they have taken very good processes, and they have improved it. And in this process, they have reduced 20%, and that is a proof actually. So they have cross functional accountability also. Cross functional accountability is very important, because there are different departments, and they have their own metrics, but there has to be common metrics which affect all of them. They should be connected to that, either like a tree, either up like a tree's root, or a tree's fruits, or anything. Any way you should be connected to that. Rolls Royce, it is another engine manufacturer. They also have done similar, and they call it power by hour. So the moment it is fly by hour means, if it is flying, there is different metric. So till that, how many hours it has flown, they will track the metric. They will see the parts, they will see everything, what has happened to each system, each components. And then based on that, they will do analytics. They use IoTs, they use sensors, they use a lot of things. And then with that, they have increased 40% fly by hour. So if it was 100 hours, the customer was flying, now they are flying 140 hours. So that is the impact they have getting. So each hour flying is a profit for the airline. And 30% reduction in unplanned event costs. So you have seen many times, aircrafts has to shut down. They say that there is an unplanned event and we need to repair, so flight will be delayed. So those are called unplanned events. And when that happens, it becomes very difficult. You have to identify which issue and where it is happening, what decision has to be taken, which teams has to go. So even it is a propulsion problem, the propulsion engineers will go. If it is an electric problem, the electrical engineers will go. So there are different ways, and that is how you have to identify what part or component is having an issue. Now for Singapore Airlines, this is another example I want to tell because it is on the vendor side optimization. So delayed ground shipments were the disrupting MRO schedule. So if the parts are not reaching in time, what would they do? The aircraft has to sit because without the correct part, it cannot fly, and that has impacted a lot of airlines. And so when this issue happens or before happening, if we have the insight and we can send the message to the supply chain and saying we need this part, so the lead time would be around 2 weeks. So 2 weeks or before 2 weeks we should give him a signal, okay, send that part to this MRO. This MRO may be in Singapore or maybe in Europe. So they have to tell which center it has to go. So what would be the cost? What would be the pricing? And they will calculate everything and say, okay, my aircraft is flying in Europe, so it will come to a Europe center, and please send it to Europe center. Though manufacturer will send to the Europe center or parts manufacturer will send to the Europe center. So all this has to be orchestrated and made it so that you make it in a less time and less price. And this has improved, logistics cost. Sorry, it has reduced the logistics cost by 19%, and 95% of vendors within SLA by Q3 2024. So service level agreement. So there are different service levels there, and airlines they make a agreements with the MROs and supply chain partners. We will order you this much components, so you give us little less pricing or better services. So those type of agreements get better for airlines, the customers. Lifecycle KPI platform. So this is very important. So you have known instant KPIs where you impact with the thing. Now the lifecycle thing. So when a product is made and product is given for service, and at the end of the service, you complete whole thing, you track it, and that tracks is called as lifecycle. Now lifecycle is very important, and I'm going to give you an example of Honeywell. Honeywell has 15,000 LRUs. LRU is line replaceable units, like small electronic parts, like boxes. So you can take out the boxes and come and repair with another. So you just fit it. So these electronic boxes are very, very important because they are tracking all your aircraft, all your electronics, all your sensors. So if anything happens to this, it's a big problem. So I can give you an example. When airplanes have a problem, pilots are talking in the cockpit. That is being recorded. So we have cockpit voice recorders. So there are flight data recorders. There are different systems in the aircraft. So all those should work 24/7. When the aircraft starts, it should be operationalized, and it should be in a good health. So there are systems, they place it so that they track the health of the system, and they will tell you if there is some issue, or it has to be repaired, or it has to be serviced, or it has to be, every year it has to be checked. So some equipment checked in 6 months, some equipments are checked in 2 years, some on one. So depending upon the regulations, they have to be checked on right time. Otherwise, plane will not fly. So LRUs are very, very important. And if you keep a track on the LRU KPIs, you can make it much more better, and you can reduce. So what is the benefit is 30% reduction in false removals. So sometimes we doubt and we take out the removals, and 20% increase in LRU service life. So you can reduce the service life, increase the service life, because if it is 100 days, you can have 120 days. So that means to say 20% of life has been increased because you're tracking them correctly, and that becomes very, very important. If you track your LRUs very correctly, your customers are benefited, because every time a false alarm goes, they have to take out the system, send it to a repair center. The cost burden goes on the airline, and that becomes very difficult. Now last, how you want to transform, a business transformation or a thing. So first you have to audit your KPI. So if you don't know how to audit your KPIs and differentiating them, it becomes very difficult. So first step is to identify the KPIs, divide them into strategic, operational, tactical, all the three sides. And then you take out the noise from the KPIs and focus on the key ones, strategic ones. Then second thing is use the frameworks to identify, apply, and orchestrate that. So once you know how to apply these KPIs, how to improve the processes, increase the efficiencies, then you can use dashboards. So dashboards are like the representation of it, but it has to also give the correct picture to the leadership, to the stakeholders, and also give alerts to the right stakeholders at the right time. So if you're giving at the right time, but you cannot take a decision which will impact, is no point. So you should have models which can give prior, ahead of time. so that he can take some decisions. So that is where dashboards and alertness and active AI should be there. Now, key takeaways. As we discussed, there are a lot of vanity metrics. So many companies which I have studied, they have 100 to 150 metrics, and like big companies like GE and all, they have very, very big KPIs, and it was very difficult. So later, they have worked with different methodologies, different frameworks, and either to have less than 10 KPIs to focus on, because if you have 10 KPIs to focus on, you have a very good track of it, and you can really help and take decisions. So you should have a mix of strategic, tactical, and operational indicators using KPI pyramid. So KPI pyramid helps you to identify these. And always remember, there is no point if your dashboards can give colorful charts and colorful this, it looks good, but exactly it should answer one question: what should I do now? If you see a dashboard, is it prompting you to do something? Yes. Even if it is telling you, okay, everything is going fine, stay alert. That's it. That is also a good thing. But you should know, what should I do now? So dashboard should be very, very interactive, very, very insight oriented. And when you're working on these, you have to see a lot of problems will come. There has to be a lot of resolutions. You have to make alerts. And then whatever you do, you will get either a, positive story or a negative story. So unless you have the iteration cycle till you make a positive story, you should be keep, diligent on it. And once you have the positive story, you should always, take the stories like a small win, talk to people, share your responses, share your wins with the, audiences within your company. It's not an easy thing to tell a leadership that we want to do a KPI optimization or a dashboard. It takes money, it takes efforts, it takes teams to do it, experts to come in. But you should do something little to start with, and have quantified wins. So then leadership takes opportunities, takes the impact, and they try to help you out. And that is what you should focus on. Syncing goals, creating unified dashboards, these help in orchestration. So orchestration comes with different rules. Every company operates differently, and their experts tells you different ways. There are mandates, there are rules. So once you know that, you can focus on that. Always remember, nothing is easy as such, but when you have a systematic process, you should know what is the maturity, the roadmaps, how you can go level up. So you can have different formats and different frameworks. So one framework which I normally use is sprint, 3S sprint. So start, scale, and sustain. So you start with small, you scale it slowly. How much the impact is it, team level, or is it department level, or it is business unit level, and then you sustain it. And once the leadership sees the value in it, they would love to sustain it and improve on it. Whatever it is, be positive, celebrate the wins. Even if it is small, it builds credibility, and it tells you that you have started right and you can carry on. And the most important thing is, you don't need a year to build an intelligence system. You need only 90 days if you focus. So one quarter is good enough. If you start diligently, if you start small, you can achieve, thing. And my last words would be, success is mindset plus metric plus mechanism. So if your mindset is correct, if you know what to start, where to start, the end correctly, then success is there. So KPI system always gives a value. And we have seen across the industry how we are learning from different industries and implementing it in aviation industry. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. Sorry. Yeah, very interesting. You sent you couple of slides. I missed it. Uh, Let us say, Bijou, if you have one
Yes, sir.
organization wants to venture into a performance culture, okay,
Okay.
so especially mid-size, tier one kind of manufacturers. So how do you advise them to step by step? So
Yes,
how do
sir.
you, can you explain? You have a slide there. Can you just
Yes, sir.
give
I'll
this short brief
absolutely.
on that?
Yeah. So any company, whether it is small or big, everyone has a current state, what they are doing now. So every company always evaluate themselves, with the revenue, what they have invested, what the operations they are doing, and what impact it is coming out, whether they are profitable or not. So in that operation part is where your KPIs becomes very important. um, if a company, like a small company, they know the processes very well, in that they have different metrics, if they can do an audit and see what processes they are executing, how good they are, if they make a red, green and yellow sort of a signals there, and identify themselves, stating that I have 10 processes and there are 10 metrics or 20 metrics I'm tracking. And then for each processes, how changing that metrics is impacting them, how that metric is connected to a business goal. And once they see that this business goal is really impacting, like let's, for example, I'll give you an aircraft operations is petrol. So when the aviation petrol was going, or the ATF they call it, aircraft transport fuel, if that is going to go because of a war, it's a signal. So what
Mhm.
airlines used to do, they'll go for a fuel company and they will hedge the thing. Okay, for now, next 5 months or 6 months, I'm going to give you a bulk of money. You give me at present rate. Even if the rate increases, I will
Mhm.
be, safe. So those metrics you have to track. And
Mhm.
you have to work on your components, your parts, your material. Even if a small, fastener is there, if it is going to impact your steel fastener or a titanium fastener, that also you have to identify and work on it. So one is the audit part of it. And second, once you know the system, then you can have dashboards, system talking with the leadership, with the mid-level team. Mid-level team means in the medium organization, those will be the more powerful people, I feel, because they will implement as well as take decisions very straight. So I would say process remains same, sir. Only thing is how they
Mhm.
implement.
Perfect. So now you see with the recent flight crash of Air India, okay. Uh, so now the tier one vendors and
Yes,
also
sir.
the service providers are under deep pressure for the OEM, for
Correct,
the main
correct, sir.
flight. So I think now it is not an option to have excellence in place. It is mandatory. Okay. So in spite of all those readiness, still mistakes happen. Okay. So what
Yes,
is
sir.
your advice for tier one, maybe tier two uh, vendors of the aviation industry?
Sir, I would say my advice would be, safety is the paramount thing. There is no alternative for safety. Safety, whatever present or, presently they are working on the regulations and the mandates and service bulletins. They all do. So aviation industry is working very, very tirelessly on that. So they know what they are doing. Unfortunate events happen, because it's not 100% proof thing. So they have to improve their capabilities. They have to make alertness. They have to see their systems, monitoring. They have aircraft health monitoring a lot, but there is still to be done, things that can help to take decisions. And I would give an example of Airbus and Boeing. They have their own AI based aircraft helpline thing. The point is, even those they have, there are gaps there. So
There
until
are
something
gaps.
bad happens, it becomes very difficult. It's not a
There
foolproof
is,
science. And
Mhm.
that is where everyone is on the learning curve. So
And the pressure is on
it's a
tier one
learning
and tier
phase.
two. Yeah,
Tier
it's
2, it
very,
is
very
there.
critical. Yes.
Very critical, very critical.
And
But
then yeah, yeah. The inventory management in the supply chain is paramount. Okay.
correct, sir.
It's
Correct.
not only about availability of the product, but also it's about the quality. Okay. So what are the steps they do it in aviation industry? Okay. Mm.
Sir, in the aviation industry, there is very stringent regulations. So I will tell you, like, avionics base. So there are different FAA regulations are there. DGC have their own regulations. So whichever the avionics part is being manufactured, every component has undergoes crash testing, production, life cycle test. Everything is there. Then their quality checks are there. The quality checks are also very stringent because there are mandated regulations for that from FAA. And once they go through that, after that they will test it again. And before fitting also, there are a lot of pros and checks and balances also. When it has come, what is the service life of it? Even if they use the use part also, that life cycle is being tracked. So
Mm.
every component which goes has a life cycle tracked with them, a document is being them. And every operator, means every airline or a lease guy, he will always have a track from, we call it at cradle to death. It will be like, they will track everything, when it was made, what time it was inducted, how it was made. So every trail is being there. So quality is very, very high in aviation. So still improved, can be improved with new technologies, innovations coming in. But the regulations is the most thing which drives this. So
Mhm.
we cannot say that we are Honeywell or GE, what we bring is the best. No, regulation has to mandate it. So that is
Mhm.
always comes from the mandates.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so you talk about very nicely about the key takeaways. Uh, so one most important part is getting people ready in the supply chain and in manufacturing. So, what is your advice for the aspirants? So, who would like to
Yes, sir.
practice supply chain and manufacturing domain as such? So, what is your, because of this AI has bring a new dimension now. Okay, now this is so big that all other old assumptions are now not valid. Okay,
Absolutely, sir.
so since and it's an industrial revolution grade innovation. So, what is your advice for the people part of it?
Yes, sir. Very good question. Sir, as you see, the industry is growing after COVID. So it is picking up very fast. As you can see, companies are really ramping up. So COVID time, they all had a very bad time. Supply chain was really affected. It is still affected. The after effects are still going on. But the industry is moving and there are a lot of opportunities coming. And you can see what is happening in India. A lot of American and European companies are coming into India and starting manufacturing here, starting supply chains here, and which is opening up doors for young kids here in India, engineers, not only engineers but supply chain from other logistics part of it. And today aviation, if they have special courses from IATA and other institutions, if they do that certification, those do that trainings, just get an idea or take an internship with an airlines or companies like GE, Airbus, Boeing, any avionics companies, they will give an idea about the industry so that they can become job ready. Rather than just a degree, they should take some internships, and that help them to get into the aviation companies. And most of the times when companies like these see a good talent, they give the offer letter there only. So when I was in
Mhm.
GE, I have seen many of my young interns coming in, and when we see good potential in them, we refer to HR, ask him to join us only. So I would say is best way is, if you're getting a job directly into the industry, well and good. If not,
Yes,
take an
well and good.
internship when you're in college. Yeah,
That's one of the best way to do it. Okay,
yeah.
so yep. So with that, any questions, participants, Bijou will be very happy to answer. So going forward, so any final thoughts just to conclude the session, Bijou?
No, I want to thank you and Data Labs a lot, because I've been part of you now for last 2 years. So thank you so much, and I look forward to work in this area with you all. Get insights, information, and any feedbacks and suggestions for me. Please, mail back. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Yeah. So thank you, Bijou. It's fantastic session. You always very organized and your lecture is makes sense with a
Thank you,
rich
sir.
content. And ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to you for joining the session today. And if you have any questions, then definitely you can post it. So we'll make sure that these questions get answered. Okay, and then if somebody wants to get connected to you, please, we can support. Okay, so thank you, Vijay. Thank you very much for a
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a
fantastic
good day, sir.
session. Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Okay.